So today, I'm pretty excited for this review, and I guess with good reason. As you all know, with the situation around the world for the past year or so, it's been tough. Most of us have been working from home, and I'm still working from home, and I'm pretty sure that quite a number of you are still doing the same. So within that period of time, I was kind of trying to find new things to do, and especially like things that you can do at home at your desk. And I got into a new hobby, which I may or may not regret. That's right, you might have guessed by now, but it is the custom mechanical keyboard hobby. And it's an interesting experience, but definitely a rabbit hole that goes really deep. If you're planning on getting into it, or if you're even remotely interested in it, definitely brace yourself. But regardless, there are some upsides to the hobby, and it's pretty interesting because there are many things that we, or rather the community, has been doing with keyboards in general, and I think the bigger companies have taken notice, and one such company is Razer. So today let's take a look at their latest keyboard. This is the Huntsman V2 TKL. So to keep it simple, Razer basically took everything they did with the Huntsman Mini and brought it to their TKL and full-size offerings, resulting in the Huntsman V2. Today we'll only take a look at the TKL version of it because, well, one, I've only got the TKL version of it with me, that's the only review unit that I got from Razer, and secondly, between TKL and full-size, TKL is definitely my preferred layout. So first up, the switches have been improved and it's now using the much better Gen 2 optical switches from Razer. We have the Reds here, so it's a linear switch and it feels nice and smooth, both great for gaming and for general typing. The spec of the switch is pretty similar to before, 45 grams at 1.2mm for the actuation point and about a 60 gram bottom mount with a reset point back at 1mm. In terms of response time, with it being an optical switch, Razer claims about 0.2 milliseconds, which is really fast. Specs aside, in terms of comparison with the original Huntsman, it's just generally better on all fronts. But of course, you can't really eliminate the slight rattle you hear that's coming from the metal bar itself, which moves when you depress the switch. It's just the way it works. If you're a fan of the clicky switches instead, there is a clicky variant in the form of the purples, so you have the option. But of course, the most obvious difference with the V2 compared to the original Huntsman is the sound, the acoustics. It is so much better. Take a listen. It is definitely a lot more muted compared to the previous, but not to the point where it's silent and doesn't sound nice. It's much more clean sounding. But of course, it isn't for everybody. Preference is preference, and I respect that. But I would say that compared to the original Huntsman, this is just generally better on all fronts. And if you're using this keyboard at the office, I'm pretty sure that your neighboring colleague will be much more happy working with you. Now, half the reason for the change in sound is because of the new and improved switches, but the other half is because Razer has now included sound dampening foam in the case. This is where Razer took a page of the custom keyboard community. Sound dampening foam or case foam is usually offered with custom keyboards, and it definitely plays a huge part in sound, especially for removing hollowness. It is a simple mod, nothing fancy per se, but it definitely helped Razer achieve the more muted but clean sound and reduce the ping and hollowness of the board all around. So hey, it's nothing revolutionary, definitely not, but it is a step in the right direction. But now we come to the main gripe that I have with this keyboard or any Razer keyboard in general, and well, you guessed it, they are the steps. yeah, it just isn't great. It's really rattly, and it's kind of made even more obvious because the 1U keys sound so much cleaner and muted now. Honestly, I still don't know why Razer wants to reinvent the wheel with the stabilizers, because if they had just used standard plate mount steps or PCB mount steps, this wouldn't even be an issue. Now as for the keyboard itself, the design is pretty much 99% similar. So you mainly get a plastic frame with an aluminum top, which gives the board a little more weight while also acting as the plate. You do get a USB-C port, which means a removable cable and standard flip-out fit at 6 degrees and 9 degrees respectively. If you're a fan of the 9-degree typing angle, Razer does now also include a wrist rest with the Huntsman V2 TKL. Now personally, I don't use a wrist rest, but it's always a nice touch to see it included. Now, it's Razer, so you can expect full RGB support with all the customizability options available in Synapse. One other great thing about the Huntsman V2 is that the board comes by default with the Razer double-shot PBT keycaps. It's honestly great to see it here because if you want your keycaps to look fresh for longer, PBT offers much better durability over time as compared to ABS, especially if you're going to be gaming for long hours on end. I also quite like the slightly rougher texture Razer has for their PBT keycaps, which is unlike most other PBT usually featuring a chalky texture. The legends are centered and aligned to the top for maximum RGB exposure, and overall it looks great. Though it is unfortunate that the sub-icons on the function row remain unilluminated. But if say you don't like the Razer keycaps, you can always swap it out, be it ePBT, MT3, GMK, so on and so forth. As long as your keycaps are MX compatible, do as you wish. Now the final upgrade that Razer brings to the table with the Huntsman V2 is the polling rate. This keyboard is now capable of 8000Hz polling rate, which brings it in line with the Viper 8K. And in my experience, it's fine, it's okay, I guess. I really don't see the point of it, or rather I can't really discern the difference between 1000Hz and 8000Hz, at least right now. But one thing I did notice is that if you don't use the included Razer USB-C cable, which I believe is USB 3.0, you might experience some connection issues. As you can see, I'm currently using the Huntsman V2 with my custom cord cable, and if you're in the hobby, you would know that most of these cables are just standard USB 2.0. When 8000Hz was enabled, I experienced connection loss every few minutes or so, and it was pretty regular. So just take note that if you want to use the full 8000Hz polling rate, you have to use the included cable, or at the very least, a proper USB 3.0 cable. But now we come to price, and this is my second main gripe about the new Huntsman V2. It's gone up in price. For the clicky variant, it's $150 or 240 Singapore dollars. And for the linear variant that we have here, it's an additional $10 or 15 Singapore dollars. At that price, it is now more expensive than the Vamilo VA87 TKL or the Ducky 12 TKL. Yes, those feature standard mechanical switches and not optical, but they are highly regarded and sound great with better steps out of the box. The previous Huntsman was basically priced similarly to those boards, and so it made for better argument and value. All in all, I would say that I did enjoy my time with the Huntsman V2 TKL, be it for gaming or just general browsing. It's a great keyboard. But again, the price has gone up, and I would say that's my main gripe about it. It makes it less competitive in terms of pricing and value in comparison to the competition out there from the likes of Vamilo, from the likes of Ducky, Logitech, Corsair, you name it. Honestly speaking, I don't think the price increase is justified because there isn't really anything that should justify an increase in $10. Sound dampening foam definitely does not cost $10, and V2 switches and 8000Hz polling rate is kind of like understandable and should be a given for an upgrade in terms of the series of the keyboard. So I very much would have liked that Razer kept it at the same price. That's my biggest gripe with it. If it was the same price, it would have been a much easier recommendation because you're basically just getting a better keyboard in general. And the argument here is that for the same price, in a sense, you're going for optical switches instead of mechanical switches, which are arguably faster and they feel different also, so on and so forth. So the Huntsman V2 TKL, it's a great keyboard, but If you're planning to purchase one, I would highly suggest that you take a look at the market and see what's available on the market right now and kind of compare and see, and if you can, try out different boards so that you understand what you want and what you are looking for in a board. The Huntsman V2 TKL is a great keyboard, just know that it is more expensive. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section down below. If you'd like to, do check out the affiliate links in the description. If you do, thanks for the support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Till the next one, see ya!